inventing what I wanna, innovate what I'm gonna. You can hate all you wanna, but you sold your pajama. Now I ain't a prima donna, but I built what I wanna. You can say my vision's wrong, the tune of my song. Broke my thumb, bang it to my own drum. Broke my thumb, bang it to my own drum. Broke my thumb, bang it to my own drum. Hootin' and clapping, boots I am a strapping, a click click clacking. Hurrah! Bootstrapping in America. Yeah, bootstrapping in America.
Count it up, count it up, count it up, count it, count it up, count it up.
That's a privilege. And it's loud as
Ooh, turn up.
Oh, shit. The butter inside. This is cool. Where can I get one of these? Like, for real.
That's a good investment right there.
Christy, we're back. Bootstrapping in America.
Welcome to Bootstrapping in America, where we interview some of the hottest entrepreneurs in Chicago and beyond. Our guest today is the co-founder of Bump Out, which created an ultra-slim portable speaker that expands to generate powerful sound and rich bass. It can attach directly to the back of any smartphone and mount to any flat surface over and over. Please welcome Michael Israel. Thanks for coming on.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
This is so cool. I'm already excited about it. Let's start out with a little bit of your background, because I think that it goes pretty deep, and this is not your first company that you started.
Right. So my background is primarily in software, mobile apps, mobile games. Chicago-based company, actually, Mobile X Labs, which is now called Current, recently raised an ICO, so now we're in the blockchain space. But
cool.
transitioned over to hardware, which isn't the most glorious industry, but took some time, and now we have a great product.
That's awesome. So talk a little bit more about some of the things that you did before. So as a software developer, I mean, you worked on games and a lot of different types of apps. So talk about that a little bit.
Right. So I'm not a developer. I'm not that smart. I was more on the business side of things. So at first, right after college, Mobile X Labs was essentially a platform where anybody can create their own app without having to know how to code or spend a lot of money. We focused on that for a couple of years, and then what we eventually realized was that the App Store is not democratized, which essentially means that there's a million apps out there, everybody markets the same way, and user acquisition is impossible.
It really is impossible, and then Apple takes most of it anyway.
Apple takes most of it, and then you're also talking about our platform was primarily for mom and pop shops who couldn't afford these big agencies to develop an app. And then what we learned was that people going to the local pizza place once every few weeks, they were not going to keep an app on their phone that they essentially weren't getting any use out of. Mm-hmm. So we transitioned over to developing our own apps and games in-house. And my primary role in that was marketing those apps and user acquisition. So what we eventually realized was that everybody was marketing the apps the same way. So like I said, user acquisition was impossible. So I basically thought, why not try something different? This was around 4 years ago. So basically said, why not try these influencer marketing guys who are on YouTube and Vine and all of these different things. So we ran our first app and campaign around 3.5 years ago. Ended up being the number one trending topic in the world on Twitter, number one app in the App Store, top grossing, had tremendous success with that. And then after that, we developed another game with more influencers, same marketing scheme, saw 300,000 downloads in 48 hours. It was a tremendous success. So that's my background in software, and now Current, which Mobile X has gone through a couple of different name changes. But Current is essentially an incentivized blockchain where people get paid to watch their own media.
Wow, that's awesome. So so I have to go from that to hardware. What was the jump or the reason for that? Like, why did you start Bump Out? What did you see sort of missing? Because there's a lot of speakers out there, right?
A lot. Definitely a saturated space. First, I got introduced to my co-founder who came up with the concept through a kid in my fraternity. His best friend worked under my co-founder in real estate in Philadelphia, and he basically said, hey, my boss has an idea. Can I introduce him to your buddy, who was me? Mm-hmm. I had a great relationship with Mark Cuban at the time. So I was like, yeah, of course, I'll speak with your guy. Ended up meeting who now is my partner, Zach. We hit it off. He's a brilliant guy. I love the concept. At the time, all he had was a 3D rendered trailer. He didn't even have a prototype. Conceptually, I thought it was great. I had no idea at the time how difficult hardware was in manufacturing of physical products.
Because you're writing code, it's no problem.
I was like, we'll get this done in a year. Are you kidding? You know, I'm used to, you know, working with developers where, you know, you give them a little bit of equity, you give them some Red Bull, and you're good. You know, now
Let
we're
them run
dealing
with it.
now you're dealing with manufacturers who are like, I want a 6-figure check up front. I don't care if your concept's validated in the marketplace. So, you know, basically at first the concept was a portable speaker that can attach to the back of any smartphone. It's obviously grown since then. But, you know, if you walk into Best Buy today, right, we started working on this idea 3 years ago and nothing has changed. If you walk into Best Buy today, you go into the portable speaker section, you're going to find a bunch of products that are either shaped like a box or a water bottle, right? They can't fit in your pocket. It's because every speaker needs a lot of internal space to generate sound quality, and specifically bass. So we obviously wanted to create something that was slim like your smartphone and convenient, but could also generate equivalent sound. So we came up with this design, which is much more unique than anything you'll see on the market.
Yeah, it's tiny.
And I'll turn it on real quick. And you'll notice when I press this button, the speaker expands.
Okay.
So that creates an internal acoustic chamber. Increases sound quality, increases bass response. So basically allows you to carry a speaker smaller than most wallets in your pocket.
Yeah.
And then we developed this adhesive, so this coin right here. You can take it off, put it on any surface. Right now I have it on the back of my phone.
So it's just magnetic, right?
It's an adhesive.
Okay.
So,
it's an adhesive.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if it loses its stick, all you have to do is run it under the faucet, wipe it. It's as sticky as it was before.
Oh.
And then you take the speaker.
Well, there's a little indentation in the speaker, and now you're all
got
good
it.
to
Okay.
go. Sure.
Yeah, so then you have the
Yep.
prongs on the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that essentially creates versatile sound, right? So these big and bulky speakers, the problem is if you don't have a table, they need to go on the floor, which means the sound has to travel up.
Yep.
Right, so if you're having people over, it just doesn't travel well. You could take this, you could put it in the corner of the room, it'll use the walls to reverberate, and
Okay.
the sound travels much better. You
Wow.
can
Yeah, because in your video, you had it actually on the wall.
Yeah, on the wall. A lot of people have it on their bathroom mirror. We've gotten a ton of videos of people who, you know, use it in the car. They put it on their windshield because they go, my sound system sucks, and I don't have Bluetooth, and there's a built-in mic for phone calls. So if your phone's in the other room and you're playing music, just hit the power button, picks it up, talk right into the speaker. So people are like, yeah, I use it in the car. It's better than my sound system, and I can take phone calls on it without getting pulled over.
You built a better
Perfect.
mousetrap.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
it was there. The market
Yeah.
was there. Everybody buys. I mean, I have, I don't know, a half a dozen of them.
Mm-hmm.
Can't find the where they are or anything like that, but I have a
Right.
half a dozen of them. There's
Well, this will be
definitely-
just in your pocket.
Yeah, there's definitely buyers. Yeah, it's great. Good idea.
Right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when
Okay.
you look at this industry, and something I looked up, and you'll have to correct me where I might be wrong here, but when you look at sort of the Bluetooth speaker space,
Right.
it says that it's expected to generate like $8 billion in revenue by
Right.
2023. But really, when you look at it, part of the reason for the expansion is really this exponential growth in the music industry, right? I mean, how would you define what's occurred in the speaker space? Because it's still growing like 10%, right?
Right. I definitely think it has something to do with the accessibility to music. You know, with Spotify and Apple Music and the different streaming platforms. You know, you essentially have an entire music library on your phone.
Yeah.
And then, you know, bottom line is the speaker on your phone is not loud enough. So you got all these kids who, you know, they'll be having people at their house and they don't have a speaker. So what they do is they take a bowl out of the cabinet, they put their phone in it, and, you know, they're trying to make a makeshift, you know,
Megaphone
loudspeaker.
or something.
Right.
Sure.
So, and the worst part is that you really haven't seen a lot of innovation in the space either. So you walk into Best Buy, it's hard to tell which brand is which because every product looks the same.
Yeah,
Sure.
for sure. For sure. So let's talk about that a little bit. Where are you actually selling these? Because you started this business in 2016, right? And you just launched in 2018, correct? Because it took a while to build that.
Hardware is hard.
I
don't
want to
just say
talk
that.
about that too. I want to
Yeah.
talk about that too. But as far as where you're selling this today, where are you distributing and selling this? Like, where can someone buy this?
So
actually?
only on our website, bumpout.com, direct to consumer. We've obviously gotten the question from a million people, like, when am I going to find you in Best Buy? When am I going to find you in Target?
When are we going to
And-
find you on Amazon?
Right. So I'll address that too. So when Beats launched in late 08, Facebook only had like 500 million users. Amazon was doing like 5 billion, 6 billion in revenue. So it was a different time. So
Yeah.
retail for them made sense.
Yeah.
completely different time now. You actually want to avoid retail, at least for the first 6 months, because what will happen is Best Buy will come to us and they'll say, hey, it's a cool product, it's different, but nobody knows who you guys are. So instead of buying it wholesale for $45, we want it for $25.
Right.
And then
wholesale.
Yeah. And then
fall off the truck price.
Yeah. And then they go, whatever we don't sell by this date, we want you to buy back at full retail price.
Oh my God.
So it's essentially why Jawbone went bankrupt. They don't exist anymore. One of the first companies that invented wearables is no longer around.
You're right. I never even thought of it.
Yeah.
So, and you look at companies like Away Luggage, Dollar Shave Club, GoPro, all started online. What that allows you to do is communicate directly with your consumer, control the message, get as much data as possible, and feedback for inventing future products. And, to answer your question about Amazon, Amazon's obviously great. They're a monster. But the problem is, one, they give you no data, right? They don't even give you email addresses. And, Amazon's buying up factories in China like crazy. So the second, you blow up on their platform, you get their attention just a little bit, they'll create a similar product, they'll use your data, and they'll knock you right off.
Yep. No, totally agree.
And you started out on Indiegogo, if I read your
started on
bio
Indiegogo 2 years ago. So the primary reason why we did the Indiegogo campaign was essentially for A/B testing creative and use cases, right? So we weren't sure if we were going to go to the market and sell this as a speaker that attaches to your phone, or is it going to be a speaker that attaches to any surface, or is it just going to be another portable speaker that you sit on a table and it could expand and it just happens to be able to attach to things.
Did it just turn on?
It automatically turns off after a couple minutes of inactivity.
Because you've been talking about how, I didn't mean to interrupt you, you've been talking about how bass and how loud it is. Can you play it? Do you have it hooked up?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, well, let's try that product, my man.
Yeah, definitely.
While you're talking, do both of them. So you're on Indiegogo. Go ahead.
So we had
Let's see if you can multitask too. Come on.
You're asking
You need
a lot
a Red
of me.
Bull or
You
a cup of coffee?
You gotta remember, I'm a millennial. I
You can do all of those things.
Prove
need
it.
extra time.
Prove it. You need a vacation first, though?
So, our goal was $50,000 on Indiegogo, hit in 4 days. At the time, we were using a domestic prototype for all of our marketing. So, it looked like a plastic piece of crap. It was our baby at the time. It cost, a ton of money to develop since it was a prototype.
Sure.
But, the product has come a long way since then. So here, I'll demo this for you real quick. And then you hit the...
Oh, you can hear it when you popped it up, the
Sure.
difference. Yeah, it sounds like, it's really different. Oh, very cool.
Okay. All my kids are going to be asking for it.
For $1,000 cash, what's the name of that song?
Oh, you are asking the wrong person.
I don't know it
Even
either.
though I've heard it a million times with my kids, I couldn't tell you what it's called.
Good, man. Good one.
That is very cool. So, talking about...
I like that it even comes up because it looks cool, too.
It's just a cool...
I mean, it's slick.
Yeah, the movement.
We've been asked a few times, could you create it without the expansion? We're like,
why?
Probably, but for the whole social media aspect, for everything,
Yeah.
it's just a cool feature. It makes it different.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Well, so let's talk about the uniqueness, right? Like when you're selling this, right? It's a speaker. That is unique, and being able to put it on any surface is unique. So how are you actually marketing it? Because you're the marketing guru, right? So what are those things that you're pointing out?
Right. So here's the reality, right? When people ask us who our competitors are, first thing that comes to mind is obviously, the Beats, the Bose, the Harman Kardons of the world. And we steer away from that just because if we were to consider them our competitors, that means that we would be marketing the same way, trying to sell on the same points. So we would be ignorant to go to market and try to sell consumers solely based on the technology. Because the reality is, you told me you have 3 or 4 Bluetooth speakers already.
Yep.
Everybody pretty much already has one. So to sell on the technology, it would be very challenging. It would be very challenging. So we're kind of taking the Dollar Shave Club approach, right? So they didn't reinvent the razor. They didn't come out with, this proprietary technology that made razors unbelievable. What they did was they came out with a brand, and they had a strong message. They built a community, a loyal following, and people just became customers. They kept on supporting them. And it was a lifestyle brand first, supported by, quality products. And that's what we are. We're a lifestyle brand supported by proprietary quality hardware products. And, in terms of marketing online, far and away, number one is influencers, right? The same way I marketed my apps, but, the influencer landscape has changed since 4 years ago. now the biggest influencers in the world who have the biggest following aren't the most engaged or don't have the most responsive followers. So we're focusing more on the micro to mid-level influencers and going on a larger scale. So for 20 to 45 micro influencers, you can get the same response that you get with Kim Kardashian.
Right.
So we'll focus on the micro to mid-level influencers who still have that brand loyalty and sustainability,
Right.
And get our message out. And similar to Away Luggage, who like Dollar Shave Club, they didn't reinvent luggage, but what they are really great at is user-generated content. You buy an Away Luggage, chances are within the first few days, you're taking a picture of it and posting it to your Instagram story, just because that's the type of thing that they built.
Right.
At one point, they were getting 350 unique pieces of user-generated content submitted per week.
Wow.
You don't even need a marketing budget if you
right.
if you get something like that.
I totally agree. So when you were talking about Indiegogo a minute ago, right? And really you were using that less about raising money, but more
Right.
about just user testing. What about raising money though? Because Mark Cuban actually invested in this. Is that right?
Yeah, Mark's one of our investors.
Okay. How
Mark's
did you
one of
get
our
Mark to
investors.
invest in this?
So Mark actually invested in Mobile X Labs, my first company, and I've known Mark since I was a senior in college. So we've had a very good relationship.
Where'd
so.
you meet him as a senior in college? Like, what did you?
It's a funny story. I mean, starting the end of my junior year at college, I'm a 21-year-old kid. I'm a little too cocky for my own good at the time. And I had read that Mark had a public email address. So I was like, all right, I'll pull up Bud Fox from Wall Street. What I'm going to do is I'm going to email him once a day for 30 days. And my selling point is that I'm going to be...
See, your father's a traitor. You know that movie. Otherwise, you don't know that movie. But go ahead.
So I go, you know what? I go, here's my offer. I go, I'm a young kid. I'll pay for room and board. I'll work for free. All I want to do is learn from you. I'm sitting there writing this email. I go, who would not take this offer? Right? So,
His secretary wrote back what? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm emailing him, and I had a rule. I said, after 30 days, if I don't get a response, I'm done.
It's like dating. If you're not getting a
Right,
response
right.
back, you're
But
not
30
gonna,
days,
you're
man, that's
ghosted.
pretty good.
Well, he's
That's
desperate right now. I mean, there are a lot of dates. Go ahead.
What can I say? So I was like, of course he's going to respond within the first or second email. We're on the 30th day. I got no response. I mean, I'm sitting in the classroom by myself. It's right before my last final, International Intellectual Property Law, and I'm sitting there and I'm kind of gutted. I'm like, should I send another email? Like, whatever. What should I do? So I'm like, all right, I'll take one last shot. It's literally 2 minutes before my last final. I copy and paste the body of the email. I'm like, but this time I'm changing the subject line. Before I had a subject line that was like, ambitious 21-year-old seeking opportunity. I was like, all right.
Naked pictures? What'd you put this one? Is that what you did? Good work.
Did someone tell you
No,
the story?
no. I'm thinking like me. That's what I would do. After 30 days, I'm desperate.
Yeah, so I go,
You gotta come up with something now.
Yeah, so I go, nude pictures of Mark Cuban.
Yeah,
Right?
there you go.
So I send it, and I'm like, it's just, I don't even think about it. 2 minutes later, I'm packing my bag up. At the time, I had a BlackBerry. By the time I hit the door, it's buzzing. And I'm like, see, it's Mark. I'm like, he's going to be like, yo, you're a genius. Get on my private plane. Come on over.
Cease and desist?
He's like, cursing me out. Like, what is wrong with you? And I'm literally shaking. I'm like, this dude could send out a tweet right now and end me. Forever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I email him back. I go, Mr. Cuban, I'm so sorry. I just knew I had to get your attention somehow. And he was like, you're not going to get rich by writing out my coattails. I don't have a secretary. I work out of my house. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't even know if I responded to that email, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to my senior year of college. Super Bowl's in Indianapolis that year. His cable network, Access TV, throws a party at every Super Bowl. He came down to Bloomington for a night, with a bunch of his buddies while he was in Indy. And my friends are like, yo, we got to go to this bar. Cuban's at it, blah, blah. And I never told anybody, what happened. I was, embarrassed. I was like, whatever. So.
And now you're telling the world, by the way.
Yeah, right. So, we go to the bar, and the place is slammed. It was right around when Shark Tank came out. Mm-hmm. So he was getting, like, that mainstream notoriety. Mm-hmm. Everybody was swarming him for pictures and autographs. So on one side of the bar is Mark and his guys and, everybody asking for pictures. On the other side of the bar is a bunch of other people and then me and my friends. It's getting so packed that he has to leave. So to leave, the exit's by us, right? So he's walking out and I'm thinking to myself, should I say something? I'm like, I'll regret it if I don't.
You have to, yeah.
So he's walking by, I go, hey, Mark. I go, it's Michael Israel. He looks at me, he goes, hey, what's up? Keeps walking, stops, he turns around. He goes, what'd you say your name was? He walks up to me. He's about 6'2". I'm like 5'10". So we're like this, and I'm like, I'm about to get punched in the face, right? He looks at me. He goes, "You are one persistent motherfucker, but I have to respect you." And he gave me a hug.
Oh,
And he
that's
left.
cool.
Now I have those clothes framed in my room. But
That's great.
But yeah, so that night I emailed him, and I was basically like, hey. I was like, it's great to finally meet you. He emailed me back. He goes, it's great to meet you too. A few weeks later, the Mavericks are playing the Pacers in Indy. He's giving a speech at IU that day. I go to the speech, right? And a bunch of people stayed after to shake his hand. And I go up to him. I go, hey, Mark. And Michael Israel. He goes, hey, Michael. He goes, you know what? I have an extra ticket to the game tonight. Do you want to come?
Very cool.
So and I think that's when he realized that I wasn't a lunatic.
Yeah.
And then
Or you were just following him around.
Right,
He
right,
couldn't
right.
shake you.
And then he took a shot on us with Mobile X right after school.
Yeah.
So that's where it all started.
That is awesome.
awesome. It's a
That
great
is an
story.
awesome story. But
Thank
one
you.
of the big takeaways from that is persistence, right?
Right.
And I think any good entrepreneur has persistence about anything that they're doing.
job,
So
man.
very
Right.
cool.
Thank
So,
you.
and I have a million more questions, but we ran out of time. I love the box, by the way.
Oh, thank you. So the box was actually designed by a guy named Joe Perez, who was Kanye's former art director for the past 8 years. Genius. So he designed the packaging. The packaging's great.
Yeah, it is awesome. So where can somebody find out more about Bump Out and if they wanna order one?
Just on our website, bumpout.com, and we created a unique discount code for your viewers, 20% off, $20 off. So instead of $99, you get it for $79, and the discount code is TastyTrade 2018.
That is
Tasty Trade,
perfect.
do that all caps for
All
Tasty
caps.
Trade, correct?
Yes.
That is great.
Good job,
Thank you so
good
much,
job, man.
Michael.
Of course, thank you guys.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I want to
it.
wish you the
Appreciate
best
it,
of luck.
appreciate it.
All 3 of my kids are getting those, by the way.
100%.
Hey, the holiday season's here. Time to order.
Exactly.
We'll take a quick
Tell
90.
everybody.
That's right. We'll take a quick 90-second break. We'll come back. We got Liz and Jenny next. Let's Taste Straight Live.